Handle, but Rabil able to recover. Looking for that point to go ahead, and there it is. The new MLL all-time leading scorer.
A lot happened in lacrosse this week. Number one, we got an emoji, finally.
That's so cool.
That's huge news.
You can use it on Twitter, you can use it on Instagram. That's awesome.
And the Saskatchewan Rush continued their dominance by winning the NLL championship. So it was a big weekend for the sport. And in this episode, we want to dedicate the entire episode to our friend Paul, who is now the all-time MLL points leader.
And there it is, the new MLL all-time leading scorer.
I wonder if he'll pick up.
No,
Nothing. That was fast.
Did not pick up. Hold on. Well, he'll watch this episode. Yeah. He'll watch the episode. That'll be the...
Can't believe he didn't pick up.
Paul started his career when he was 12 years old, and his neighbor, Bruce Nickenicki, gave him his backup stick.
In the beginning, Paul self-admittedly said that he was not very good. One of his first shots went backwards.
And they go up in the other direction and score in transition. And I remember telling my mom afterwards that I was just done with it because I just didn't want to play the game. I wasn't any good at it.
So even though Paul wasn't great when he started out, he stuck with it, and he eventually transferred to a high school about an hour away from him called DeMatha.
Paul spent 3 years at DeMatha and won 3 championships. And it was during this time that he told himself he wanted to play at the highest level.
And I think right around then, I started really realizing my desire, my passion for the game.
Now, if you want to be great at anything, there's a point where you have to decide that that's what you're going to do.
And I would just practice myself to sleep. I would ask my dad to turn his headlights on in the driveway so I could hit the ball against our brick wall.
Paul got a lot of recruiting offers coming out of high school, but chose to go to Johns Hopkins. Paul won 2 national championships at Hopkins and was a 2-time All-American.
Paul may be the most prepared guy that I've had the opportunity to coach.
After college, Paul was drafted into the MLL by the Boston Cannons.
The first selection in the 2008 collegiate draft, the Boston Cannons select Paul Rabil, midfield, Johns Hopkins.
And into the NLL by the San Jose Stealth.
In his first 3 years in the MLL, Paul was a 2-time league MVP and won a championship with the Boston Cannons.
Meanwhile, Paul won an NLL championship with the Stealth, and in the same year, won a world championship with Team USA, and was also named the World Games MVP.
Rabil from the outside scores! Paul Rabil, who's been the fire starter for Team USA.
An insane 3 years.
That's a lot.
Your first 3 years out of college and you do that?
Whoa.
Paul was really ahead of his time. It was during his first 3 years that he started a YouTube channel.
What's up, guys? Paul here.
Making him the first lacrosse player and really one of the first people in the sport to have a YouTube channel.
Also, if you haven't seen some of his first videos, go to his channel, click oldest videos, check some of those out. It's pretty amazing to see when he first started on YouTube.
Is this going on YouTube or something?
I don't know.
Around this time, Paul started getting recognized as the best lacrosse player in the world. He grew out his hair, shot 111 miles per hour,
111 miles,
and jumped over a car at the MLL All-Star Game.
alley-oop. Paul Rabil.
You remember how long his hair was? That was so much a part of his brand at that time.
Yeah. That was right before the Rabil cut.
Right before the Rabil
When
cut.
it was just getting a little wild. In 2014, Paul faced a little bit of adversity. He lost in the World Games in Denver.
Canada can start celebrating for...
And then broke his foot in the MLL. But in 2015, he rebounded and he ended up winning an MLL championship with the Lizards.
So just to be able to play off ball and fill in when needed versus every time has made the world of a difference for me in my career.
And I actually spent 2 months with him during that move. Paul was traded, Boston to New York. Paul and I became really close during that time.
Colin shot a documentary that we did called The Move. If you haven't seen that, linked right up here. One of our favorite pieces that's on the channel.
I think whenever we bring it up, we just say, if you haven't seen it, stop watching this and go watch it.
Well, finish this video first. Since then, Paul has truly become the face of our sport. He's launched a podcast. He's become the largest lacrosse YouTube channel. He's featured across tons of media outlets, and he continues to push the sport forward. A lot of people who don't necessarily know what lacrosse is are starting to know who Paul Rabil is, and that's huge for our sport.
And that brings us back to this weekend when Paul became the all-time MLL points leader, breaking John Grant Jr.'s record with a pretty sweet goal. If you're gonna do it, might as well do it with a nice righty wraparound goal, bounce shot.
Very smooth.
I like it.
So yes, Paul holds the record for all-time points leader in the MLL, but one day that record will be broken. Paul said that in his interview after the game, and it made me think that what makes Paul the greatest player of all time is not necessarily how many points he scored, but the years of dedication to the sport and his determination to push the sport forward.
But I'm happy to be here where I am. It's a good testament to what this league has become and what we can do as players.
We've gotten to know Paul really closely over the past 3-4 years, and we can confidently say that he is one of the hardest working people in this sport to grow this sport. He puts in so many hours off the field outside of just his game to make sure that this sport is growing and spreading in the right direction.
So we wanted to tell this story today to give you guys some inspiration. If you're a young player who's really passionate about lacrosse, or if you have an extra stick and you want to give it to someone, you guys could all be the next Paul Rabil, and our sport needs that.
That's it this week for the Weekly Watch. Make sure to congratulate Paul. Go ahead and tweet him the lacrosse emoji, because you can do that now.
Yeah, that's cool. You can also tweet at The Rush and all those players, congratulate them on winning a championship. And I think on our end card, we will leave you with this WWE-style brawl from the Lizards locker room. Peace!